This bill is dead as fried chicken. It's going to get out of committee. It doesn't have 60 votes in the Senate. And it sure can't pass the House. So why do it? Why do it? Why beat the living crap out of the United States Supreme Court? I just don't get it. I understand politics, but I just don't get it.
Senator John Kennedy is looking to protect the Supreme Court from having to adhere to ethical standards in the wake of revelations that justices have been engaging in extremely corrupt bribery schemes. Namely, Justice Thomas and his cozy relationship with a billionaire that not only paid for cushy vacations, but Thomas's family real estate deals and his great-nephew's private schooling. Well, Democratic Senator Sheldon Whitehouse then sprang into action.
The personal hospitality exemption that has been in the news the past few weeks, is a feature of the Ethics in Government Act. The requirement that Justice Thomas disclose real estate transactions in which he's involved is a feature of the Ethics in Government Act. And the ability of the Attorney General to pursue a civil investigation and fines of anybody who violates that law is also a feature of the Ethics in Government Act. So I have asked Judge Mouskopf, who's the head of the Judicial Conference, to make the referral to the Attorney General to open a file and do the basic factual investigation so that there's an official record of what truly took place.
This corruption defense team of Republicans that are against this are the same that actively preach in favor of draining the swamp in D.C.
If I'm elected president, we are going to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. We are going to drain the swamp of corruption in Washington, D.C. It is indeed time to drain the swamp in Washington, D.C. You can send us Republicans like Mike Braun to drain the swamp. We're going to Washington, D.C. to drain the swamp. Absolutely.
But now that conservative justices have been found to be bathing in the muck, drainage is apparently a liberal scheme.
What we are witnessing right now from Senate Democrats is an organized, concerted, deliberate effort to smear, to try to delegitimize, and to try to destroy the Supreme Court. We're witnessing it because they're angry. Senate Democrats are angry that we have a majority on the court that are willing to follow the Constitution and follow the law.
Since being an ethical member of the Supreme Court is a liberal smear scheme, Ted Cruz is telling everyone that the Republican Party is the party of unethical behavior. There's so much projection in Cruz's statement here, I have to pause it to break this whole thing down.
And it's important to note that Democrats don't like democracy.
Democrats don't like democracy, says the guy that's in the party that followed President Trump in his plot to overturn the 2020 election that led to this. But Ted's not done.
If they did, they wouldn't go to the courts and try to force through wildly unpopular left-wing policies that the voters don't want. But today's congressional Democrats are more than willing to trample over the will of the voters, and they want judges to rubber stamp their left-wing views.
Democrats go to the court to push through unpopular policies that voters don't want?
Approval for the Supreme Court has plummeted to its lowest point ever. Yeah. Disapproval has skyrocketed to its highest point ever. Only 36% of Americans supported the decision. 61% opposed it.
Not very popular with American people, it seems. And how about that accusation that Democrats go to the court and force through policies that Americans don't want? Well, it turns out right-wing Christian activist Rev Rob Shank admitted that evangelicals, along with Republican elected officials, did just that regarding Roe versus Wade.
I'll take you to one very telling event, a meeting inside the U.S. Capitol with Republican Party operatives and a number of leading evangelical spokespersons, institutional leaders, ministry heads from across the country. And in that meeting that I participated in, the conversation went something like this. You guys want Roe v. Wade overturned. We can do that for you. But you take the whole enchilada. The means were justified by the end of that.
And it also meant that you had to approach the Supreme Court in a different way, that they had to be influenced?
Well, certainly we had to do everything we could to ensure that the justices would be resolved to begin laying the groundwork for the reversal of Roe.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell also went to bat over the court he openly crafted with disingenuous schemes to strip Democratic presidents of their appointments.
Many of the liberals on the court have also accepted gifts, and it's just an effort to try to target this new Supreme Court. If they can't get their way on the merits, they go after the court itself.
I don't think the proposed legislation has language that exempts liberal justices from the ethics rules, but Republicans without a case have never met a straw man argument that they don't fall in love with. These defensive arguments are filled with lies, cover-ups, exaggerations, and misdirection, and apparently dead fried chicken. But if we peel away the partisan layers, there's only one thing left standing. It's an entire Republican Party that's openly advocating for the continued bribery of Supreme Court justices by the billionaires they've been paid by to do their bidding.